to create a simple tour, simple geolocation story with ARMaker. ARMaker is a template. We're going to keep it very simple. We're going to call this Swiss tour, 3 stops. So in this tour, we'll go from a town of Zernetz, and then we'll visit Krastomora and end up at St. Moritz, which a lot of people know as the ski vacation capital of the world. So before we do anything, let's just create a bit of a title slide here. We're going to ID our page called title. You'll notice that ARMaker features pages that have a latitude and a longitude. We'll use those in a minute. But first, let's just create that title slide. So I'll use SVG and I'll bring in a regular bitmap graphic. Let's bring in St. Moritz. We'll make it a little larger. And then I'll use the text tool, call this Swiss tour. Let's make this, just go ahead and stretch that out a little bit. Sans serif, it's kind of a gray, it's what I want. I'll bring these things up. Hit the content, save the page, and then I'll ensure that this is set to 90%. So I simply clicked on the graphic and chose 90%. This is our title slide, but what we'll add are 3 slides. Each slide will represent a location on our tour. And then one of the spots, one of the stops on our tour will feature a photosphere. We'll bring in a photosphere and show you how that is used. I'm on page 1 of 1. I'll create my first stop, which will be our starting point, the town of Zernetz. And then let's go ahead and we'll make this heading 1. Change the color to black. Add an image. There's a representative image of Zernetz. I'll change this to 90%. So rather than using a fixed width and height, I'll choose a percentage. And then I like to give it a border, a solid border, 3 pixels. And there we go. Now we'll add a latitude. So how far north of the equator? Well, it's 46 degrees. And then we'll add a longitude. So it's 10 degrees east of the prime meridian. The proximity, so to this point in Zernetz, we'll say when you're within 100 feet, this will trigger. Of course, we can use this virtually. So this tour can be used virtually from the comfort of your home, or you could actually go to this location and this tour will work because it'll be triggered once you're within 100 feet of this point. So that's our first spot. Let's add our second. And this will be Krastomora. Again, we'll make this heading level 1, but turn it black. I'll now add a photosphere. I'll click on the image tool, get image, and import this panoramic view. I'll make that 90%. Here's the critical part. This is what tells LodeStar that it is a panoramic view, or we want to treat it as such. And then I won't bother putting a border around it. There we are. And I'll make sure that I give this page a title, an ID. Once again, now I got these, again, I'm going to repeat myself here. I got these coordinates from Google Maps. I displayed Cresta Mora on Google Maps, and then I held down my mouse key and up popped a dialog with these coordinates. It's as simple as that. And then I'll add one more stop on the tour, and this will be St. Moritz. Bring in a graphic, an image. Turn on the border, solid 3 pixels. Put in my latitude. Put in longitude. Notice that there are, well, I just noticed that I am 1 digit short. It's best to have 6 digits to the right of the decimal point. And we're okay here. That gives you a fairly accurate reading. We're good. Now to add a little pizzazz, I'm going to add a background graphic to my layout. I'm going to grab this graphic here. I'll also go to themes and make my page a little, not 100% opaque, but maybe 70% opaque, so some of the mountains can bleed through. I'll show you that effect in a minute. Let's preview and see what we get. So there's the background. This is why, this is my little pizzazz. Add a background, make it bleed through a little bit on the page. Now I can show the map, and here are my locations. So we have Zernas, we have Cresta Mora, which is a 360 degree. Because we checked off 360 degrees, this is now being displayed in our viewer. And what I would like to do is, here's a little village. We have an image associated with this village. I'll show you how to make this 360 degree image interactive. And then finally, we have the town, St. Moritz. Beautiful, beautiful place, especially in the winter. Great. We have one more task, and that is to make this 360 degree view more interactive. So let's click and choose the interact button. There's the photosphere with its distortion. I'll add an info marker. And I'll place it right over the village. We can't do much with this yet because we need to add content that will get displayed when we click on the marker. To add content, I'll go to the last page and add a wall. So I'll change this into a wall. And the whole purpose of the wall is just to have content that we can branch to, not content that the user would normally navigate to. So user navigates all the way up to the wall. But we're going to place some content beyond the wall. I have a little hyperactive mouse. So here's my first wall. I added a page. It became another wall, and I'll change this to a text type and add the name of this little town, which is Samadan. I'll add a graphic. Another beautiful town. Add a border. Add a page ID. Now I don't need to put latitude and longitude here because this is content that will get called up as a result of our clicking on the interactive graphics. Here's our marker. I'll right click, choose branch options. Now my whole point for doing this is to add an overlay and the content that I just created, which was Samadan. Add overlay Samadan. I'll do this for both when the marker is selected and deselected. Same bit of business right here. Add an overlay, which overlay? The Samadan overlay. Hit OK and OK. Let's preview, see what we get. Show Cross Mora on the map. Interact with it. There's our marker. And there's our beautiful town of Samadan, nestled in the Alps. If I click again, even though I'm deselecting the marker, same action occurs. Of course, we could have two different actions associated with selection and deselection. Incredible area. So to conclude, we created 3 geolocations. One can, we don't recommend the driver doing this, but if you had a vehicle and you were driving along this highway, the content would pop up. Now, hopefully for the benefit of the passenger, not the driver. And then we added a 360-degree panoramic photosphere. And then we were able to add a marker to that photosphere, which brought up the content that we wanted. Thanks so much for watching.